If you put yourself in the shoes of being Trump's cabinet and you're attached to this guy, I think you're nervous. And you're thinking, how do we handle this? I mean, the MRA came back. This guy is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. We always knew he was a little rocky, but he put me in a position of power, which was ultimately what I wanted, power. So how do I get rid of this guy? How do I survive? I survive by being part of the coup. Oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my. Hello, hello, my fellow sensitive people. It is me, your favorite remote viewer, the lady with the mostest. I got some cards here, and my goodness, let us take a moment to regroup and let's talk about everything that has happened up to this point. But before that happens, it would be absolutely great if you would like, share, and subscribe, all that good stuff. And think about memberships because, oh my God, they make my life so much easier. So I do appreciate that. Now, if you have been paying attention so far, we've been doing some remote views using heart-centered remote viewing. If you'd like to find out more and learn how to do heart-centered remote viewing, we do teach it here Sunday nights at 5 p.m. It's a fun group of people. We teach for members who are at the elders and empaths level. It's only $9.99 a month because my book is not out yet. Once my book drops, everything is going to be so much more expensive. So think about taking advantage of those classes before they become more formalized. Okay, let's get into this. A couple of months ago, I did a remote, and how that works is that I put myself into a relaxed state, a trance state, and then I try to use heart-centered remote viewing, put myself in the shoes of others, follow the trajectory of the energy. And we said in that remote that they were phasing out Donald Trump, that Donald Trump would be removed, and that most likely his career would come to an end probably sometime around late December. We also talked about the fact that we were getting that he had some health challenges. And when we went into the energy on health challenges, the biggest concern I felt was cognitive decline. I felt that I had, that Trump, as Trump, and in connection to the issue that Trump was experiencing cognitive decline. Also, he can't run for a third term. It's more that he just likes to watch the Democrats freak out, but there will be no third term. So if you can step back from this situation, and I know you can because you're smart people, you watch this channel. No, seriously, if you can step back and look at the situation objectively, if you are a Republican strategist, you want to be thinking at least a couple years in advance. And what do you see when you go forward a couple of years in advance? You see that the MAGA movement is collapsing. But that doesn't mean that the anger of the poor, the need for the poor to come together and unite, the middle class. If you earn a dollar above what poverty is considered in the United States, you're still poor, but they're going to call you lower middle class. It just takes a dollar to come out of that category of what it is to be poor, which I think is something like if you earn, what is it, like 19 to 20 something $1,000 a year as a single person. If you're $1 below what constitutes middle class, or what if you're $1 above what constitutes poor, you're now middle class. So that means that you can't earn more than $19,999, right? Because then you're middle class. But of course, we know that in order to survive in the United States, with the average rent here in Portland, Oregon, for a studio is running $1,500 a month. So that doesn't leave a lot of room for the average poor person to even have a place to live. MAGA is not sustainable. It isn't sustainable because you can't, first off, it will lead to civil war. And secondly, you can only divide and conquer for so long. This is how hegemony works. Divide and conquer. It worked in Palestine when the British conquered Palestine and divide and conquer. The Turks weren't engaged in divide and conquer. The British were invaded, and we are still recovering in that part of the world from the fire that was started by the British. And in that tradition, we now have this administration, which is all about divide and conquer. And I would strongly encourage the Democratic Party not to participate in divide and conquer, but in unity. That the way that we're going to get this party back, the way that we're going to win elections going forward is to focus on unity and bringing the poor and the middle class together and focusing on what we need to do in order to move forward as a country. And Democrats need to move away from divide and conquer. Attacking people who voted Trump, attacking MAGA is not going to get the country unified and moving in the direction you need to be moving in. Having said that, if you are a strategist and if you are a GOP strategist, you can see the writing on the walls for Donald Trump. He has no future. And anybody that's attached to him has no future, because this is a man who has well, first off, he's in serious cognitive decline. You don't just have an MRI when you're pushing 80 for fun. According to Trump, he was asked to do it, so he did it. And then he attacked Biden, saying Biden wouldn't do it if they had asked Biden. It's because Trump was asked to participate in an MRI. Why did he participate? So we already know what happened because Trump told us what happened. He said that they asked him to take an MRI. So your first question should be, because you're intelligent people, why would they have asked him to take an MRI? They asked him to take an MRI because they suspected, and rightly so, that there was something wrong with his cognitive health. Everybody who's 80 years old, if you have an MRI, is going to have probably some cognitive challenges. It's extremely rare that wouldn't be the case unless you were on a predominantly plant-based diet, eating massive amounts of omega-3s and getting the best possible oxygen and avoiding anything that could damage the brain, and you had the best genetics, then maybe you might not have white matter on the brain. So most doctors will say, I call BS. The guy's pushing 80. Of course he has white matter on the brain. But here is the problem for Donald Trump. If he has white matter on the brain, and if they now have imaging to prove that he has white matter on the brain, that can then be used against him if you're trying to throw him out and put somebody else in. And so where is your head if you are a person who is hungry for power that latched on to Trump? Well, number one, that he's a lame duck, that the writing is on the wall, that if the Republican Party doesn't get rid of this guy, they're not going to win elections for a long time. And they need to save themselves before 2026. My advice would be to get rid of this guy. They're putting up signs, theoretically, because he doesn't know where anything is. He's wandering around, and Japan doesn't know where he's at. And they ask him to do an MRI. If you put yourself in the shoes of being Trump's cabinet and you're attached to this guy, I think you're nervous. And you're thinking, how do we handle this? I mean, the MRI came back. This guy is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. We always knew he was a little rocky, but he put me in a position of power, which was ultimately what I wanted, power. So how do I get rid of this guy? How do I survive? I survive by being part of the coup. And the coup is to get this lunatic out of there and to improve J.D. Vance's reputation. So now it's just dropped more information about emails with Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell talking about Trump and about the fact that it hasn't hit the press yet, the extent to which he had been partying with Epstein. It also comes out in the emails that evidently there was a particular girl or woman there for the entire day, and that Trump may have participated in something questionable or sleazy, right? Why hasn't the press been involved? The press hasn't been involved, and Ghislaine is 75% there. What are they talking about? I think they're talking about the fact that somebody in a position of power, Acosta and the FBI, has intentionally been working to suppress leaks. And then you'd have to ask yourself, well, why would they do that? They would do that for their own agenda, or because possibly he agreed to be an FBI informant at one point. Who knows? The point is that it's now leaked, and it really is starting to look like they see the writing on the wall for Trump. Yes, absolutely, he has chronic venous insufficiency, which could be secondary to coronary artery disease. He could have had a heart attack. He could have had stent placed when he was out of office. We don't know. We do know that coronary artery disease, congestive heart failure. First off, anyone over the age of 45 on a standard American diet probably has coronary artery disease. But the fact that he's obese, pushing 80, and has been living on a standard American diet, of course he had white matter on the brain. He has a family history of Alzheimer's. That should be a red flag. Let's go ahead. We're going to do the Empath prayer. I have a nice setup here for all of you. Hopefully you'll be able to enjoy this reading. There's a little bit of a reverb. I'm sorry. I still haven't figured out. I've got the iPhone on mute, but for some reason I can still hear myself on that second camera, and for that I do apologize. I haven't been able to figure out how to totally mute mute it. I don't know. I'm verklempt. I don't know. We'll figure it out. All right. Without further ado, let's go ahead and do the Empath prayer. I'm glad to see you here. Please be sure and subscribe and like as we gently make our way to 100,000 subscribers. You are loved and appreciated. Thank you. Don't always say that enough. All right. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively we say, Amen. Well, that was huge, what came out. I mean, I'm just blown away that they're starting to leak. And I believe, based on what we've already talked about, that these are intentional leaks and that the GOP is dumping Trump. These things are leaking because there are people in the GOP who are Republican strategists that can see the writing on the wall. MAGA is dying. Marjorie Taylor Greene is leaving. She has moved on. There is no future for Trump or the MAGA movement. It's not sustainable. The only thing that is and this type of politics where you think the other person is the devil just because you don't like the guy they voted for or because they've joined their party is based on whatever news they're watching. This is not sustainable for our country. It just isn't. We can't go on like this. Putin said he could take us out without firing a shot, and that's precisely what's happened. We're firing the shots. Be aware when you're watching a YouTube of people that are demonizing and trying to pick fights back and forth because they're doing it for views and to create salacious YouTube channels, salacious videos, but it's not Think in terms of the long-term consequences to the country. That's what we need to do. How are we going to come together? And, is this really going to help your grandkids? What's going to help your grandkids is for us to become a functional country. And we have to stop this civil war. I think it's really great that Bernie Sanders is going to these rural areas and talking to people. I think it's great. Okay. First thing we're going to be looking at is what's going to be happening with the Epstein investigation. I got to know, where is this Epstein investigation going? And how is it linked to the Republicans and the consequences for Trump? I got to know. I'm so damn curious. You have no idea. All right, where the investigation is at right now is lack of cooperation. You have a 4 of Cups, which would indicate a kind of passivity and also a blocking of information. So it's not going to help. Okay? If Mike Johnson is doing everything in his power not to cooperate with the expose, if he's going down with the 4 of Cups and refusing to give any information or being passive aggressive, trying to keep the files, this is a tsunami of information that's going to be released about Donald Trump and corruption at the level of the FBI and the people that participated, people also judges, etc., in Florida. All of this stuff needs to come out. You're not going to get that information from me. 4 of Cups, silence, no cooperation. And then the karma card is the Sun, which would indicate that there's some kind of an exposure that's going to be happening. So my feeling about this is that it doesn't matter that the door is being closed by Mike Johnson, because the truth is coming out with that Sun. Mike Johnson doesn't matter. And I'll tell you honestly, with this type of information that's coming out, any decisions about releasing the Epstein file and any refusal to release, it doesn't matter, because it's going to find another way to be released. People will start leaking because people want MAGA to come to an end, and because Trump is over. He's finished. Because Trump is finished, this is how to view it. Because Trump is finished, and they know it, they are assisting in his removal. So Magic Johnson refusing to participate or refusing to cooperate is not going to help us. The Sun is coming. Exposure is coming. Even if they vote to release the files will not be released, because there will be people fighting to protect the perpetrators. And so what I am saying, as clearly as I can say it, is that the files are going to be released, and it will not depend on Congress. It'll happen through these types of leaks, because Congress is a joke. They will vote yes to release it, and then people will fight at the level of judgeships, etc., to keep it hidden. And that could take months and months and months of court filings to protect the perpetrators because of their rights, because they were guaranteed protection by the FBI, which means they fall under FBI protection, federal protection, which means 4 of Cups. We don't have to cooperate with what you want, because they cut a deal with the feds. They're under witness protection, basically. And so absolutely not. I don't care what you say. I don't care what they vote for Congress. We are not going to allow those files to be released. And that is what we as Democrats need to understand. This is likely not going to go anywhere, or if it goes anywhere, it will take months. The reason that everything is coming out about Trump is because of leaks. So sitting around and hoping that Robert Mueller is going to save us, spending months, and it goes nowhere. This is just like a delay tactic. It's just manipulation. The truth is coming out, and we don't need Congress to have the truth come out. That's honestly what I think. There is a serious, serious thing happening right now in Congress with Johnson. This Four of Pentacles can come from a place of fear. It is a frugality card. It is when you are clinging on to everything for fear that you are going to drown. It is that terrifying feeling when you're grabbing the carpet, when you're grabbing the blankets, terrified you're going to be drug out of your own bed. That Four of Pentacles is a frugality card, and I'm telling you, life cannot be good for Mike Johnson right now. Four of Cups, Four of Pentacles. This guy is retracted. This situation is retracted. They'll go to every court. They'll go to the Supreme. They'll do whatever they have to do to protect the FBI because of the rights of the people under this type of protection policy. The crossing card is the investigation itself. You have the Hermit, which is coming in. You cannot stop this. That is what I would say to Mike Johnson. You could hold on with the Four of Pentacles. You can block that with the Four of Cups, but the sun is coming out and the research is coming out with that Hermit card. The truth is coming out. You cannot stop this. What is above a man of war? There's a war coming. This is a war. Be prepared for a war over the Epstein. This is a war that the last of the Republicans still holding on to this president, who feel loyal to this president, you're going to just have to, you have lost this war. He has no future. He can either leave office in a complete state of shame, drug out by impeachment and removal because he's so senile. He can't last another 2.5 years. His brain decomposition is happening too rapidly. The guy doesn't even know where he is half the time. And so a war is coming. King of Wands is about time and space. It's a wand, right? So when we think about wands, we think about the wood element, and we also think about the fire elements in Chinese medicine. Wood feeds fire, right? In TCM. So that's Mars. That's the sun. So we have sun and Mars. This is aggressive. It's about the truth coming out, and King of Wands is about establishing your territory. King of Pentacles is about business and keeping secrets. This is why the King of Pentacles is often the card I use for the FBI or the G-Man, right? Because he holds that coin. He holds that secret. He's not telling anybody what's going on. That's the King of Pentacles. Damn, this is a wild reading. Because on the one hand, you have the King of Pentacles, you've got the FBI, we got our 240 something people, however many they had under witness protection. Hey, he told us he was at that party and then he saw this person and that person. This is what happened. Great. We're going to give you witness protection, witness protection, witness protection, witness protection, witness protection. And we're going to hold those names. We cannot afford to give up our witnesses. It doesn't matter if you don't like Gotti's informants, the people that informed on Gotti, that they were horrible people that chopped people into and put them into body bags and sank them at the bottom of the Potomac or wherever. It doesn't matter. What matters is that if we release these names, no one is going to feel safe being under witness protection. No one is going to ever agree to cooperate with the feds ever again if they see us do this. And so the consequences for the FBI are huge. The mob won't cooperate because they saw what we did with the Epstein. We handed over the names, but they don't trust us. What? As soon as you get in with a new president, you're going to release my name and then Gotti's going to come after me, right? This is what happened when they took down major crime brinks in New York. All these people that had done horrible things got protected, and they simply got on with their lives. So that is why the King of Pentacles is the G-man, and that is why he holds that data. He holds that stuff close to him. And also with Four of Pentacles, holding that stuff, holding that data, secrets. That's how I think about Pentacles. Whereas Wands is all about territory and time. Give me time now. I'm going to take that space, right? And then that Hermit, it's as if they cannot stop the little feelies going in. It was a deal that never should have happened, but this is not the first time that the FBI has made deals with horrible, awful people. Two of Pentacles, it isn't just about, it's so much worse than just pedophilia. That this investigation is so much worse than just pedophilia, because this is an investigation that's so much bigger. He was also under investigation for, not just trafficking, but this looks like it could be racketeering and money laundering. Two of Pentacles is a card that I associate with back and forth with the coin. Where's the P? Where's the P? Come on, pick the P. P, is the P under this walnut shell or that walnut shell? Find the P, find the P. It's that gambler's kind of energy. You can see the rocky waters in the background under a Two of Pentacles, like, what the hell is, you don't know what's happening. It's that wheeling, it's that dealing. So, and you've got this strong prosecutor or this advocate of this King of Wands energy coming in. I'm telling you, more is going to come out about Epstein and about his questionable dealings. The FBI was investigating him for more than pedophilia. It would appear that they also suppressed information regarding corrupt business associations. And in the clouds, Seven of Cups, complete confusion, not knowing where things are going, totally lost. Like, what the hell? Seven of Cups is my senility card, to be honest with you. It's when grandpa doesn't know where the bathroom is, right? So he just goes in his pants. I don't know where the bathroom is anymore. Well, they say he wears Depends. I don't know. But Seven of Cups is that feeling of, I try to be nice to people. I don't want to be mean. But Seven of Cups is when a person doesn't know. I don't know. There's phantoms, there's ghosts. I see demons. I see a ghost. It can be somebody who's mentally not all with it, with the Seven of Cups. I really, truly believe that people that got pulled into Trump and got seduced by Trump really believed he was their savior. They really believed that he was like their Jesus. Seven of Cups is when you're completely confused. You have no idea what the hell is going on. And the opposition right now is the world. The entire world is against this president and this administration. He has very few allies left. There are good business deals coming in, the Abraham Accords, Mohammed bin Salman, Prince Mohammed bin Salman, I call him MBS, his initials are MBS. He'll be in the United States, I think November 18th for a grand dinner where he'll be investing a lot in the United States, in planes, etc. But also, and this I can go ahead and give it public information because I have knowledge on this and it's not public, so I'll go ahead and be the first. I like to be ahead of the news, yeah. He'll be announcing that he will be part of the rebuild of Gaza and that he will be donating to the rebuild of Gaza a transportation system. And thank you, MBS, because I wrote many love letters to you asking you to fund the transportation, the caravan system that would unite the Abrahamic nations. So that announcement will also be happening probably on November 18th. And so thank you, Prince. And we look forward to hearing that announcement. And I have no doubt we'll be hearing that sometime around November 18th. All right. So we have this opposition happening with the world. And then the hope and fear is the conflict. So people are attacking each other. I see people attacking each other on Congress. They're like, I'm going to tear you apart. Not pretty. And then the final outcome is justice will prevail. It ultimately falls with the courts, and the courts will give the power to the people. It will be released. There's the evidence moving into seventh position. In the future, we have the Three of Pentacles. I think that this entire battle is going to be an attempt to block the courts. There's Johnson. The courts agreed to release some of it, but not all of it. There could be some kind of a compromise with the dreaming lamp of the Queen of Cups, but there will be a legal action to attempt to block Congress. It will eventually all be released. I stand by what I said. I see this president not completing his second term. I do not see Donald Trump completing his second term. And I know this is not what Democrats want to hear, but J.D. Vance will be the 48th president of the United States, and I think that he could be in office as early as spring of 2026 or sooner, because I think the writing is on the wall. The writing is on the wall by the end of December for Donald Trump. He simply does not have the cognitive wherewithal to continue, and I think it's going to create a huge civil war inside MAGA. That's my prediction. And I think that the courts will get involved, and I think some of the stuff, not all of it, may get released. And I think most of the information will hit before Congress releases it in the form of these leaks that we're getting. And I think that the death of MAGA is something that's calculated by the Republican Party so that they can save themselves in 2026 and beyond. And I think that what we will see is the death of their loyalty to Donald Trump happening very soon, because they can see the writing on the wall. They know what's coming. They're not stupid. They're just connected to bad things. And prepare to see them focusing on making J.D. Vance appear more as the leader, the president. He's already started to do that. He took a Middle Eastern trip, talking to victims in certain situations. We saw him, after October 7th, and after they were negotiating the peace deal with Israel and the Middle Eastern countries, after the release of the hostages, for example, we saw J.D. Vance go to Israel. We also see him, comforting victims in certain tragedies. We're going to start seeing more of that. And that's an attempt, I believe, to make him appear more presidential. All right. It's been awesome hanging with you. Okay, if you're trying to get in for a reading, be sure and check out my Booksy pages. If you'd like to see me for a reading, you can book me by booking through Booksy. All right, we're out of here. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out. I'll see you next time, everyone. Thank you for hanging. Bye-bye.